Good morning, everyone. Welcome to warm and sunny Atlanta.
Yeah, thank you all for bearing some crazy travel to get here. I've definitely heard some crazy stories of flight delays, so thank you so much. There's about 9,000 of you here, so that's super exciting. We're a little bit larger than last year's KubeCon, so thank you for that. For those of you, thanks. For those of you that this is your first KubeCon ever, can you just raise your hand really quickly? So look around, there's a lot of new folks. I actually know the number, it's 48% of you, but thank you for doing that. So, thank you so much for kind of, coming here and being part of our community. It's a special year for us. Very sentimental. It's 10 years of basically CNCF being formed. Oh, great, I get a little EMS alert on my watch, but it's 10 years of CNCF, and before I was coming here, I was catching up with my family. I was talking to my mom, who was, asking me always like, what do I do with the computers, and how, what is CNCF? And, I was trying to tell her a story of all the cool stuff that we work on in this organization, right? And so I was basically telling her before I was coming to Atlanta, I was doing some research, right? I was using ChatGPT and Gemini, asking me like, what are cool restaurants? What are the running trails? You always got to use two AI tools. Can't just trust one, because sometimes they lie to you. I went and booked, a flight on American Express, Delta Airlines to get here. And eventually, if you're not aware, Gemini, ChatGPT, American Express, Delta Airlines, they're all using Kubernetes, Backstage, and other CNCF, projects. I jumped in a Lyft to get here to stay at a Marriott. Both those organizations are using Kubernetes behind the scenes to power and scale their infrastructure. So, hopefully, I really want you to kind of leave this conference understanding that the projects and the work that we do as a community truly are powerful, invisible infrastructure that power our daily lives. So, enough of that sentimental feeling. It's 10 years of CNCF, and if we kind of look at where we're today, we have nearly 300,000 contributors worldwide that are contributing to our over 230 projects representing 190 countries. Truly, we are a global community, and I think the largest open source foundation if you kind of look at the number of contributors worldwide. So we've done a lot of great work, but it's taken us a lot to get here, and I always kind of want to thank the people that were in the room in the beginning when they first started. So I saw some of them already. Unfortunately, I think they're seated all over, but I kind of want everyone to kind of thank some of these folks. Camille, Alexis, Brandon, Alex Polvey, these were all like critical folks in the early days. So can we just get a round of applause for all these folks that took a chance at us in the beginning. Thank you all. So I think some of you that are new, may be a little bit familiar with, we have this cloud native landscape that I helped co-create with a colleague. And when we started this organization, it was a small set of projects, right? It was kind of a small community, very tightly fit. And then we look at today, and if you go to landscape.cncf.io or l.cncf.io, it is a massive, huge, set of projects and products and members and ecosystem contributors there. So we've truly built this crazy thing over the last, 10 years. And in 2015, we've had some projects move along our, kind of, let's call it maturity levels, and have graduated and incubated. So I'd like to call some of those, out before we kind of talk a little bit about where we're going this year. So for newly graduated projects in CNCF, we had in toto, Knative, Crossplane, and Dragonfly all graduate this year, and you'll see them all throughout KubeCon and the Project Pavilion and so on. So a hand of applause for these great projects to hit very important milestone and truly used to power a lot of large organizations out there. We had some new incumbents and incubating projects for this year that came around. So Kubescape, OpenFGA, MetalCubed, OpenYurt, Kserve, and Lima have moved to incubation. So a hand of applause for these folks. And then we had some project anniversaries. Even though CNCF is about 10 years old, we had some projects that turned 10 this year, OPA, Helm, etc. We also have some projects that are actually older than CNCF. Projects like Vitesse and Tough have been around a little bit longer before they came and joined CNCF. So cheers to all these projects that have been around for a little over a decade, and I'm excited to see them in the Project Pavilion later. So before handing it off to Jonathan, like it's been a crazy fun year of travel and celebration for us. We had an amazing amount of communities all over the world holding these C10CF celebrations. I held one locally in Austin, which was a lot of fun. Visited one in Japan. Hey, there's an Austinite on the stage. Awesome. So we did all these all over the world, and it was truly amazing to see everyone celebrate and kind of really participate in the cloud native and open source spirit. So thank you all for doing that. And for the folks that are new here, hope you feel welcome and included to celebrate with us this year. So that's enough of my banter. I'm going to go hand it off to Jonathan to talk a little bit about some of our membership growth and maybe where we're heading for maybe the next 10 years of CNCF.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. And in celebration of the 10th anniversary, we do have a special edition shirt that you'll be able to go get in the sponsor showcase. This is the grand reveal right here.
Yeah.
It's our tour shirt. You know, you're all in the band, all the places we've been. So make sure that you go get that before you leave the show. When we look back at the start of CNCF, it had a pretty great start in terms of the technology and the companies that were supporting it. There were 22 organizations that were founding members of the CNCF. But just like Chris has talked about with the growth of contributors and the number of projects, we've seen crazy growth on the number of companies who are supporting the CNCF mission and our projects. It's over 700 member companies today. These are our platinum and gold members. We have over 600 silver members. We have a lot of end user supporters. We have academic institutions and research institutions. And it really does represent every industry in every geography of the world. And that, I think, is an amazing testament to the reach of the work that our developers and our contributors have created and put out there, just like Chris was talking about. I'm really excited to announce today that we're adding to this list. We have a brand new platinum member, CVS Health. So let's all welcome CVS Health to the platinum member role. And I love this because they are a platinum end user. And you know, CNCF has always had a place for end users. And our platinum end users, which include Apple and CVS Health, they help drive the strategy for our tab and on the governing board and make sure that we're always taking into account you know, what our end users need and where we should be looking to meet those needs. So you know, we've got an amazing 10 years behind us. What can drive another amazing 10 years going forward? One of the things that I see as I talk to a lot of end users and also technology creators and vendors is that the two most significant trends are merging right now. Cloud native and AI are not separate technology trends. They are really coming together and merging to create the next wave of innovation and opportunity. And this is both for, I think, our companies, for our industries, for us individually as developers and users of technology. It's really an incredible place that we are at right now in 2025. We have a report. There's a QR code here that you can go see the whole thing that's just coming out around the state of cloud native development. This is an incredible growth that we've seen around this number of cloud native developers, up to 15.6 million now. You know, we can't fit them all in here, but they're all part of us and part of what we're working on. And almost half of those developers are working on AI, creating AI, working in AI systems. So we are already seeing that this is something that's happening organically. And I think it's only going to increase as we see AI systems grow broader and become a bigger part of everything we do today. AI is, you know, it's two letters, but it can mean anything to anyone. And for me, I have tried to come up with some organizing principles for how I think about AI, and also, you know, where we can play, where we can have the biggest impact. And I think about three pillars of AI: training, inference, and then applications and agents. Training is where we take raw data and information and turn that into intelligence, encapsulate it inside of a model. Inference is the stage where you take that model, you serve the model, and you answer questions, you make predictions, you feed it into systems to take that intelligence and connect it out to the world. And applications and agents are really the user interface where we're connecting systems to each other, we're creating chatbots, we are driving incredible user experiences like Chris was talking about with rideshare applications and airplane booking and all of this kind of thing. So, these are, each of them, quite large in scope. And it's really cool to see how, at the training layer, it's driven by open source incredibly already. PyTorch has 80+% market share of the training workloads out there on Hugging Face. At inference, we see a lot of emerging technologies like VLLM and LM Cache and other things that are open source. And agents, there's a new agent framework being announced every week, but we're going to see a lot of very important open source and open protocols that give us what we need to build this agent layer. So where do I think our biggest opportunity is? I think for the cloud native community right now, in the next 18 months, inference is going to be a massive opportunity. This is something where the workloads are increasing at unbelievable scale. A few months back, Google mentioned that across their AI systems, they were doing 980 trillion tokens a month. A couple of weeks ago in their earnings call, they updated that number to 1.33 quadrillion tokens a month, just in a few months. I mean, this is insane growth in the inference load just inside of a single company. And we see this across many, many organizations. And when I talk to organizations, they are like, okay, we know we have to have this capability. We want to build it on Kubernetes. We're doing something. How do we make it better? How do we do it as a community? And I think this is where we get a huge opportunity in our community to figure out how do we take the great capabilities that Kubernetes and all of the cloud native projects have around deploying, scaling, observing, securing, and how do we attach those into inference systems so that we can take that even further. There are a couple of examples out there right now in the open source world. One is AI Bricks, one is LLMD. If you haven't heard of these, I encourage you to go check them out. They're both entirely built around Kubernetes and cloud native projects, and they are working to make inference systems really easy to deploy and scale and standardize. So I think this is a huge opportunity for us. Inference investment over the next decade is going to be hundreds of billions of dollars, and this community has the skills that are needed to create these systems in a way that companies can rely on them and innovate at those other layers.
Awesome. Thank you, Jonathan. How can the CNCF community and the cloud native community better support inference workloads? Well, I got some good news. So a lot of our projects have already started to embrace AI workloads. Kubernetes is, obviously one of the leading examples. As of the last release, 1.3.4, the dynamic resource allocation feature, DRA, hit GA and is available for kind of wide adoption and consumption. For those who aren't familiar with DRA, it basically enables GPU, TPU, and kind of resource hardware abstraction in a Kubernetes context. So there's an amazing talk that you could find later today, led by Kevin from NVIDIA, Patrick from Intel, and John from Google. So please check that out if you want to kind of learn a little bit more and kind of get involved in the evolution of this. But what else can we do? So in the early days when I helped bootstrap CNCF, one of the things we wanted to accomplish is, we wanted Kubernetes everywhere. Let's have it on every cloud, private cloud, on-premises system, and so on. And how do we make sure that Kubernetes is going to be stable and like people aren't going to fork it or mess with it? So we created a conformance program, and about let's call it 8 years ago, we started our first batch of conformance solutions. We had some folks that you recognize: Google Cloud, Red Hat, IBM, Microsoft, et cetera. We're part of the kind of first initial batch of folks. And then if we kind of look at what is today, we literally have the whole world. There's 100+ conformance solutions out there. You can't go to any major cloud service or private cloud option and not have Kubernetes conformant and stable and compatible across these things, which is truly amazing. It basically brought the whole industry together. So with putting our minds together, we're like, what can we, AI is booming, what can we do to kind of ensure that the stability and global cooperation that Kubernetes brought to workloads, what can we do for AI? Well, maybe we could add a little conformance flavor to ensure AI workloads are, consistent and stable on Kubernetes. So about 6 months ago, I announced a beta program that, hey, we're going to go get together as a global community and, do conformance for AI workloads on Kubernetes and standardize this stuff so you have the guarantees that you have with the current Kubernetes conformance program. So I'm excited to share and update the audience with some of the progress we've made here. I'm going to go bring on some of our folks that have worked on this, but without kind of further ado, I'm going to invite Janet from Google on stage to talk a little bit about the work for the Kubernetes AI conformance program. So let's bring Janet on stage now.
Morning, everyone. Today, I'm happy to be here to announce a new community-driven initiative that will shape the future of AI on Kubernetes, and we call it Kubernetes AI Conformance. So why did we create this program? Our vision is to simplify how you run AI ML on Kubernetes, and the goal is to guarantee that we can make AI workloads portable and interoperable on Kubernetes. This, we hope, will accelerate adoption and enable the ecosystem of AI tools to grow on an industry standard foundation. So what does it mean to be Kubernetes AI conformant? We have defined a set of requirements that will guarantee that the platform must support across several different core areas. Once the platform supports those requirements across, for example, accelerators, networking, security, scheduling, observability, and operators, we can call it Kubernetes AI conformant. This ensures that you can run AI reliably on those platforms. Now, enough talk. Let's see what it looks like in action. So I'm going to show you a demo of running a serving workload on a Kubernetes AI conformant platform. So I'm going to run it on a 134 cluster. First guarantee of the AI conformance platform is that it's going to support DRA APIs. Now I want to make sure that my DRA driver is running on the cluster. It's running. Now I want to use the DRA API to see what hardware devices I have on the cluster. And it shows me that there are 2 GPUs. Now I'm ready to deploy my VOM deployment to serve a Gemma model using DRA APIs. First, I want to use DRA API to create a resource claim template. As you can see that it's requesting for a single GPU, but it provides flexibility for me to request for other types of accelerators or put more sophisticated requirements. After applying that template to the cluster, I can start deploying my VOM deployment using that template. So under the spec, you can see that I'm claiming for a single GPU via DRA by using that template. And then after applying that deployment to the cluster, I can wait for it to be available. And now it's available. I can look at the log to make sure that apps is running and becoming ready. It detects the platform. Now it takes a few moments to load the model. And after a few seconds, you should see that the application is startup complete. Now I can run port forwarding to make sure that I can access the service from my laptop. So I go to another terminal to do port forwarding. And then I go back. And then I can start asking the model some questions. For example, what is KubeCon? And after a moment, it returns me that KubeCon started in 2015 and tell me more information about KubeCon. It's not just a conference, it's a crucial hub for the Kubernetes community. I can see the VLM metrics by hitting the metrics endpoint. For example, I can see the number of requests running is 0 for now because I'm not running any more prompts. And next guarantee is that the AI conformance platform will provide a monitoring system. And I can see that my Prometheus pods are running. And then I can scale up and down my pods based on custom metrics. So here I'm going to create a horizontal pod autoscaler that can scale up and down my pods based on metrics. And you should notice that under the metrics, it's reading the metrics from collected by the VLM pod, but exposed by the VLM pod, but collected by the platform's Prometheus service. So once the number of requests running goes up, I should see my number of pods go up as well. Now I want to apply the horizontal pod autoscaler to the cluster. Now it's created. Now I want to create another terminal to simulate some load to hit the model. So it's asking some questions to the model. It should generate more number of requests running. And for now, you can see on the right of the screen, the number of replicas is 1. But the HPA is reading the metrics, and then you can see that it's scaled up to 2. The last bit I want to show is that the AI conformance cluster also exposed the performance metrics of the accelerators. I'm also going to use port forwarding to let me query the endpoint, metrics endpoint from my laptop. So after I do the port forwarding, coming back, I can query the metric endpoint of the GPU metrics exporter. Now I can see that the GPU utilization is 89 for the first GPU, and the GPU temperature of both GPU are showing there. And now go back to the slides. So what you just saw is not just a demo. It's something that you can try yourself. All the manifests and artifacts are available on this GitHub repository. So please feel free to scan the QR code to try it out yourself. So the demo shows the power of a consistent and open ecosystem. Because the core capabilities, for example, the DRA API and the monitoring systems, or exposing the accelerator metrics are guaranteed on the AI conformance cluster, we have a path for portability for the AI workloads. This shows the power of an open standard that we have a common foundation for portable API. Portable AI, we have guaranteed capabilities on the platform that gives us a path to portability of AI. Now I want to congratulate the first platforms that are already certified to be Kubernetes AI conformant today. And then I also want to thank a lot of the major contributors to make it happen. We are also seeing a lot of the industry leaders are saying that they see the future of this program and their customers are really excited about this program. And this has been a massive community effort from the start. And I would like to invite my fellow organizers to come up to the stage to recognize their incredible contributions.
Hello, everyone. This has been a huge community effort, so this program won't be where it is today without all of you contributing and involved in this program.
And there's still time for everyone to get involved and help shape the future of this program. We especially want to welcome the AI and ML communities to join the effort to ensure the foundation that we're building are actually solving the pain points for running ML AI workloads at scale.
And this will shape the path and the road for the future of Kubernetes as well, into the right age of the usage for AI and building the foundation for this. And we invite everyone that you join us on this journey, and we want to get your input, and we are looking forward to see all of you on this journey. Thank you so much.
So I want to emphasize that this is still early. This is just the beginning. So we invite all of you, the developers, the platform providers, and end users to come join us to shape the future of AI on Kubernetes. So please go ahead and take a photo and scan the QR code on the screen to see why the conformance requirements are there today, and join the discussion in the working group to shape the future with us. Thank you.
Good job. Thank you. Awesome, thanks, thank you. I always love a good CLI demo. I mean, sometimes it could be a little bit complicated to understand the impact, but this community is truly trying to standardize AI and inference workloads across every cloud and system out there. So super good, great work, and it's still very, very early, and it's an opportunity for everyone to kind of get involved and shape this just like we did with the original Kubernetes conformance program. All right, moving on. Things that keep me up at night, let's call it, open source security problems and so on. If you kind of look at the systems that we all build and depend on, truly, like I mentioned at the start of my keynote, everything we use on a daily basis is basically powered by open source and cloud native projects. If you kind of look at some of the data, there has been attacks on the open source supply chain. CNCF projects are included there. There's been some nasty issues out there, things like XE. The XE issue that came up just earlier this month, I think it was a Shai Halud issue that came up. It's just like this constant, security problems and stuff that, appear in our projects. And as a community, we have to work together to ensure that we could kind of sustain and ensure that our projects are up to snuff and meet critical adoption. If you look at more data, CVEs, which are essentially vulnerability metrics for projects, continue to increase every year. If you kind of dive in, it's been about already a 16% increase for the first half of the year compared to last year. One thing I'm proud of in CNCF is we've worked with a variety of organizations outside ourselves to help improve the security of open source projects. We spent over $3 million over the last handful of years improving security in our projects with audits and other cool tools, which we'll talk about soon. So one of the organizations that we've partnered with that I'm very happy to work with is called OSTIF, and I'm going to go bring on one of the founders of the organization and talk a little bit about what they do for CNCF, some of the impact we've had with our security audits, and some of the other things they do for the overall open source community. So let's bring up Amir to talk a little bit about what's going on in OSTIF.
Thank you, Chris.
Look.
Hello, good morning, Atlanta. It is such a pleasure, truly an honor to be here with you all today at KubeCon. My name is Amir Montazeri. I'm the managing director of OSTIF. That's the Open Source Technology Improvement Fund, or ostif.org. And I'm here to talk to you all today about how open source security requires a village, and share insight into the security audits that we've been doing in collaboration with CNCF over the last few years. So from its inception, and especially over the last few years, CNCF has invested heavily in project stewardship and providing development for projects. The project maturity model, which helps projects and provides them with support, guidance, and services, is a fine example of that. The security audits that we've been doing at OSTIF in collaboration are an example of the collaborations, and typically involve some kind of threat modeling and tooling, infrastructure, development and augmentation to provide long-term benefits to projects. And I'm truly honored to work with CNCF in this space and work with all the great projects that we have. Over the last 2 years, spanning around 12 security audits, resulted in over 40 critical, high, and medium severity findings found and fixed. Fixes are a huge part of our audit process because there's plenty of tools out there that can find issues and bugs, but actually validating them and fixing them is the important piece. Over 100 security hardening recommendations for projects and almost 5,000 hours of expert audit work in collaboration. We put out an impact report last year. I highly recommend reading it. It cites all of the audit reports and the research that we've done. And this is for 2014's impact report, and we'll be putting one out for 2025 soon. We typically survey CNCF projects and auditees to get direct insight from the most important stakeholder, which is the maintainers and contributors. And huge thank you to all of the survey respondents. And I was thrilled to find that 100% of the survey respondents recommended a security audit to other projects, citing things like the audit built internal and external confidence in the project, identified the most important focus areas of the project from a security perspective, which is where the threat modeling exercise part of the audit comes in. And I particularly like this one where, in addition to finding issues, implementing fuzzing, the audit helped adopters recognize the work that was being put into security. CNCF has always been big on transparency, as are we at OSTIF, and publishing this work, sharing it, is a big part of that. Continuing with the proactive security trend, CNCF has invested heavily into Kubernetes over the last 10 years, spanning 3 security audits. And for this iteration, we took a slightly different approach where the focus was actually on the most widely used non-core components, given that core Kubernetes had been audited a few times already. It required a lot of coordination with the Kubernetes community and the different subcommittees and communities, and involved finding the right team due to the high amount of interest in working on this project. Can't talk about too much yet, but an interesting initial finding from the audit, which the pull request that links to the CVE can be found at the QR code, had to do with hard-coded credentials in Windows OVA and Nutanix images. That was fixed as part of the audit, and in terms of what's next, you can expect us to release the full audit report with all of the results, hopefully in time for KubeCon EU in Amsterdam. Lots of gratitude. OSTIF also celebrated our 10-year anniversary this year, and there's just so much gratitude to go all around, but I wanted to thank the Linux Foundation for their support, CNCF for the partnership over the last few years, all the fantastic project maintainers and contributors we've worked with over the years. Too many to list, but thank all of you for working with us. I want to thank the Kubernetes community and SIGs, in particular the SIG security audit, in which Ray Lahano and Ian Smart helped tremendously in getting everything set up. And I also want to thank everyone at OSTIF, because it really, as the title suggests, takes a whole village, including us internally as well. So thank you all so much, and hope to see you all in Amsterdam.
Thank you. Great job, Amir. I guess the slide's up there. So, definitely we've done a lot of work to improve security. And sometimes we use tools from industry, from innovative startups and other organizations to help improve the security posture of CNCF projects. And I'm happy today to talk a little bit about one of those efforts with the etcd project, which for those of you who are not familiar, I kind of call it the distributed brain of Kubernetes, right? And they've done some great work to really improve it. So I'm going to have Merrick, who is one of the etcd maintainers, talk about some of that work, and then also Wilson from antithesis talk about work. So come on stage, gentlemen, and talk about what you've done. How's it going? Here.
How's it going, everybody? Okay. When people ask me what etcd is, I like to show them this diagram. You know, Chris called it the distributed brain of Kubernetes. I think of it more as a tiny Jenga block that is holding up a whole ton of distributed cloud infrastructure. The problem is, like a lot of critical open source infrastructure, it does not get anywhere near the love that it deserves. So since we're big beneficiaries of open source, we wanted to see if we could help out. And it turns out we can help out, because the thing that antithesis does is test really complicated real-world systems like etcd. We do that without you having to write a single test. Instead, all you do is tell us what your software is supposed to do, and we then run it in a massively parallel simulation of real-world production and see if we can make it do anything it's not supposed to do. And if we do, then we can give you the ability to deterministically replay and re-examine that situation so you can debug it with confidence. And now Merrick's going to tell you a little bit about what we did with etcd in particular.
Yeah. So for etcd project, reliability is the top priority. But testing a complex distributed system is incredibly challenging. To ensure correctness, etcd community has developed a custom robustness test framework, host bi-weekly meetings to share knowledge on debugging, and integrated failure injection tools to ensure reliability even under failure. But even with those efforts, finding a bug relies on random chance, making issues hard to reproduce and creating bottleneck around a few core maintainers. That's why we reached out to antithesis. So how antithesis helps us? For verifying correctness, antithesis enables us to do property-based testing with sophisticated fault injection, which we couldn't implement on our own. To help with sharing knowledge, antithesis allows us to perfectly deterministically reproduce any bug. This is a game changer, as debugging is no longer limited to just a small group of core maintainers. Essentially, when our existing framework is like throwing darts while being blindfolded, antithesis removes the blindfold.
So that all went well enough that we were like, can we do it again? And so I'm really excited to announce today that we are entering into a partnership with the Cloud Native Computing Foundation to secure the reliability of the cloud. What that means in practice is all incubating and graduated CNCF projects will be able to come and use antithesis for free. We're a small company, so we can't take on every single project at once, but we're looking for our next 2 projects today. And if you want to come and talk to us about that, come by booth 457. It's right near where you get your t-shirts. Or you can hear more from me and Marek at the Project Pavilion at noon today. Thank you all so much.
Got it, thanks. Awesome, thank you, gentlemen. So, very excited. We're going to be kind of ending the opening keynote soon, and Jonathan and I really want to, work together and convince all y'all, let's go all build the next 10 years, together across this amazing global community that we've built, together. One thing that I personally almost always say, if you've known me for a long time, is every contribution, matters, whether it's code, documentation, hosting a meetup, mentoring, making an introduction, all this truly matters to kind of help build our community. There's this cool little tool that we've built to kind of celebrate 10 years of Kubernetes, 10 years of CNCF and Kubernetes, which highlights your first contribution to the CNCF community. My contribution was a little bit boring, setting up a GitHub repo for a technical board or TOC. Jonathan contributed an entry to the cloud native landscape. Janet, I think, contributed some documentation in Kubernetes. Lynn contributed a feature. So everyone has their different start. And so please take advantage of this tool and share kind of your first contribution. And if you haven't contributed yet, feel free to do so. So truly find a way to kind of get involved. We have so many different programs, both for code contributors and folks that are non-code contributors. So we have many, many things out there. Go to contribute.cncf.io. And then we also have a new tool in beta called ask.cncf.io because we want to take advantage of these cool AI technologies. So please check that out. There's a lot of different QR codes here for our different programs, ambassadorships, Kubestronaut for education and training, our mentorship programs. You could actually get paid to contribute to CNCF projects over certain terms, and then our community groups, community.cncf.io for people that organize meetups all over the world. So please find a way to get involved. So I'm going to go hand it off to Jonathan to close to talk a little bit about where we're going next for KubeCons.
Yes, so KubeCon is so awesome. We got to keep adding more. And next year we will be doing 5 KubeCons again, starting out with Amsterdam in March for KubeCon EU, then moving to our next KubeCon India, which this year will be in Mumbai. Yeah. I had the opportunity to go to the KubeCon India in Hyderabad this year, and it was amazing, and I'm super excited to see what next year holds for that. Then we'll be in Yokohama for KubeCon Japan in July. Yes. The first KubeCon in Japan was this year in Tokyo. It was sold out, totally amazing, so we're moving to a bigger space and hope to see everyone there. And then in September, we will be in Shanghai for a combined KubeCon and Open Infra Summit. So we'll have the Kubernetes communities, the OpenStack communities, and all of the associated projects there in Shanghai in September. And then we had a little curveball. We were planning to go to LA next year for KubeCon NA, but the LA Convention Center is going to be under a massive reconstruction project. And so we had to pivot very quickly. And so we will be in Salt Lake City, where I heard last year we had a great KubeCon. We'll be back there in November. And I just want to say a quick thank you to the LF Events team for pulling that off. Taking a show like this anywhere in the world is hard, and having to do it on short notice is amazing. So we've got a full slate for next year, and we already have some dates that you can save for 2027. New Orleans in November of 2027, the Big Easy, and Barcelona in March. So hope to see you all in all of these locations in 2026 and 2027.
Awesome. Let's thank you all, and let's continue the show. So thanks.